Okay, we're here today with the Ducati DesertX Rally that I raced at the NORRA Mexican 1000 recently. A lot of you guys submitted questions online about the bike, about the race, about me at the race, and we just want to take this opportunity to thank you for the questions and answer some of the best ones that we got. So the first one is what were some of the pros and cons or advantages, disadvantages of riding this bike at the NORRA Mexican 1000 over the more conventional, rally style 450s. I think the biggest advantage that this bike has is just sheer power. The bike is crazy fast. You can make a little mistake and make up for it with some throttle input, and I think that really helps make the bike easier to ride and easier to race. The bike was a lot better handling than I expected it to be, and I think that was a big advantage for me at this race with this bike. Cons, it's a heavy motorcycle. It's almost 500 pounds, double what a 450 rally bike is. It takes a lot of time to get it stopped. It's a lot heavier to pick up. Thankfully, I never had to pick it up. But I think that's probably the biggest con. The next question that we had was about suspension. I got a lot of questions about suspension on this bike. I think this question specifically asked about bottoming on harsh G-outs or bumps or cattle grates, something like that. Sure, we experienced some of that, but I think you would experience that on any bike, regardless of the size. This bike just took a little bit different riding style, and you had to give those big G-outs and whoops and cattle guards a little bit more respect than you normally would on a 450. But really, overall, the suspension handled everything that Baja had to throw at it really, really well. Third question, did the bike run hot in the deep sand or any time during the race? No, the bike never ran hot during the race. We were moving pretty good at all times, even though we were in deep sand. I never was worried about that, never saw a really high temperature. But the day after the race, when we went and did a photo shoot to get a bunch of B-reel, we definitely got it hot, and it overheated when we were doing real slow videography stuff in deep beach sand. That was the only time we saw an overheat issue. Okay, the next question is about the Easter egg video that our media team shot on this bike. So, as with all rally bikes, there's a lot of really cool unseen features of this bike that help us get through the stage and make sure we get to the finish line, because in rally there's no outside assistance once the stage starts, so you're kind of on your own. So we hit a lot of tools and spare fuses and spare parts on the bike, and made a kind of a cool video about that. And the question specifically is, did I have to use any of that stuff? The answer is no. I had a flawless race. Never so much as got a zip tie off the bike. I use the duct tape quite often, to repair my road book or tape my road book into the road book holder. But other than the duct tape on the handlebars, didn't touch anything on the bike. Okay, so the next question that we had was about all the nav and the controls and equipment that we have on the front of the motorcycle to race a rally event like this. Specifically, the question was, how do you prioritize what you're looking at, and what are you actually looking at when you're racing? So I wanted to kind of go over the nav equipment and show you guys how it works and what we're looking at when we're racing. So up top here, we have our two GFXs. These are GPS-enabled odometer and compasses. So my one on my right, I have set up to be my compass heading. My one on my left, I have set up to display my odometer reading and a compass heading as well. And really, the compass heading is just a backup in case I have an issue with one of them. Right below that, I have my road book. This tells me everything I need to know about the stage, where I'm going, what we're going to see, all the navigation notes that I might need to get through the stage. Below that, in this empty spot right here, we actually have the organization computer that's given to us by NORRA. It's called a Stella device, and it has a bunch of different features in it. It shows waypoints, it shows speed zones. It's also a way that the organizer can track us and see where we are in case we have an emergency. They can come and rescue us. Moving down from that, we actually have our stock bike computer. So this is the computer that came on the stock DesertX. We've just relocated it down here to the handlebars. All the same features of a stock DesertX, just different location. Moving on to controls. Most everything is done with the left hand on the rally bike. So we have this multifunction switch here. The little thumb toggle here advances or rewinds our road book. And then this group of 6 buttons here controls our 2 GFXs. Mode buttons here for the GFXs and odometer, advance, or rewind buttons for both GFXs. And then moving up front, we've actually relocated all of the stock bike controls off of the handlebars, and we've actually put them up here inside the fairing. That way we get a little bit more room on the handlebars for our rally controls and stuff like that. But we actually maintained all of the stock functions, cruise control, high-low beam, all that kind of stuff in these stock switches up here. Okay, so then moving on to prioritizing what we're looking at when we're navigating. Obviously, first priority is don't crash, right? The first priority is what's in front of you and riding the motorcycle. Second priority, I think, is your road book. You're looking at each tulip. A tulip is a row in the road book, and it shows us the odometer reading for that item, and then what we're going to do at that odometer reading, and then a short little note about what we're going to see there. So what I'm doing is I'm matching what my odometer says on my GFX to what the odometer reading of the tulip should be. And then I know, okay, if those two match, then I should be making, in this case, a Y right into sand, and I should have a waypoint there, and the Stella will pick up that waypoint. So I really think that's primarily what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my odometer and the road book, and then if I have a situation where I have a compass heading, then I'm looking at that compass heading to confirm that yes, I just made the right turn and I'm going the right direction. And then I think last priority is adjusting your GFXs to match the reality of where you're at, because you might ride 100 kilometers and the road book says it's 99.8, but your odometer might show 100.5 miles or kilometers. And so you might need to adjust your odometer to recalibrate to match what's in the road book. So I think that's kind of the third priority is readjusting your odometer and making sure, okay, yeah, I'm in the right spot.
And then for like bike, the bike itself, was any of that on your radar during this process? While you're riding, are you looking and monitoring? Temperature obviously always says high, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned that one yesterday, that'd be a good one to bring.
Yeah, and I think the last priority is the actual bike computer itself. Really, I wasn't utilizing this for anything other than using it sometimes during the liaison sections to make sure I wasn't speeding or to set my cruise control. I was using this, but other than that, I'm pretty much ignoring what the bike computer is telling me to do. I got enough to look at up here and not crash and do that kind of stuff. This is last priority. Okay, the next question we had was what went unexpectedly smoothly during the race, and what was something that caught me off guard. I would say the first part of that question, what went unexpectedly smoothly, I was really surprised and impressed with how competitive the bike was. I had ridden the bike during testing, but never with somebody else. It had always been alone, me on this bike. And so I didn't really have a good benchmark to see how fast the bike was compared to, let's say, like a 450 rally bike. So the first time that I was able to compare it was during the first stage of the race, and looking at the results, I was really impressed with how competitive the bike was, and quite honestly, pretty shocked. And then what was something that I didn't see coming? I think my biggest surprise for the race was that even though I know pretty much every inch of Baja and I can't get lost down there, I got into trouble assuming that I knew where Jimmy Lewis was sending us with the road book and making the wrong assumptions. So I would assume, look at the road book and assume, I know where he's going to take us, and then actually get there and realize, no, that's not where we're going at all. We're going somewhere else. So as the race progressed, I had to kind of put that idea aside, that I knew where he was going, and just kind of ride the road book. The next question is about favorite part of the race and least favorite part of the race. I think without a doubt, favorite part of the race is the route. Jimmy spent a lot of time building a really cool, fun route that, as he says, it's something that he would like to just go play ride and have fun on. And I think he really nailed it. There was nothing really miserable about the route. It was always really enjoyable and fun. So I think that was my favorite. Least favorite part about the ride had to have been the fourth day, the first day of the marathon stage, the fourth day of the rally, going into San Juanico. That was the only day that we actually crossed paths with the cars. So we had a couple instances where the motorcycle course teed across the car course, and both courses were live at the same time. That's as scary as it sounds. And then that same day we had some parts of the chase crew course that they shared with the race car course. And so we had instances where the chase crew was on a road that they were racing cars on at the same time. And again, that's as scary as it sounds. And I hope the organizer really looks at that day and pays attention to what happened and what went wrong there, and prevents that from happening in the future. Okay, the next question is about other races. It says, how have other races you've done in the past compared, and did your yearly Baja run experience compare to this race? And I would say, yeah, but not in the way that a lot of people thought. You know, when I was racing down there, I heard from a lot of people like, oh yeah, you know exactly where you're going. You know, you're not going to get lost. You don't even need the road book. And that wasn't true. But the Baja experience that I have definitely helped me in this situation, more so in the general sense of knowing what to look out for in Baja, and what are the things that you can ignore and not worry about. So I think overall my Baja experience helped, but it wasn't the huge advantage that some people thought it was. Next question is a good one, actually one I thought about a lot down there. It says, now that you're a father, do you catch yourself reflecting on lessons learned in Baja riding with your father, and what techniques or past experiences helped you along? For sure, being a father has changed how I ride. I'm definitely more cautious, a bit slower of a rider in general. Yeah, I think that that really changed the minute I became a father, 3 years ago. But I would say in general, that was kind of the way my dad taught me to ride from the get-go. Was a little bit cautious, a little bit smooth, and no unnecessary risks. But I would say that I've become even more so now, now that I'm a father. Next one is a good one. Your day-to-day gig is running a dealership. What personal training preparation did you do, and how were you able to get second place in this race? Yeah, it's a full-time job here, and then I got 2 kids at home. That's another full-time job. But I think really just in general being fit, and when I ride a bike, I'm not a very physical rider. I'm pretty smooth on the bike. I let the bike do a lot of the work. So I would say that's an advantage for me, because I don't have to be, tip-top shape to ride the bike as fast as I do, because I'm not manhandling the bike, and I'm letting the bike do its own thing. Yeah, and I chase my kids around all day, so I get a lot of exercise there. Next question: What advice do you have for a rider looking to get started in this type of racing? Yeah, I think this type of racing can be very intimidating for people. They see the road book and they see all these computers on the bike, and they go, what in the hell am I going to do? I can barely ride my motorcycle fast in the desert, let alone read all of this stuff here on the bike. And I would say it looks a lot more intimidating than it actually is. With a little bit of training and a little bit of pointers, you can learn to ride this stuff fairly easily. there's plenty of guys out there that do rally training. Jimmy Lewis, the guy who actually laid out the race course this year, he does a really great rally training or rally nav training school. Go take one of his classes. Put some of the nav equipment on your bike and go ride it. And you're not going to be Ricky Brabeck tomorrow, but you're going to be able to go out and finish a race like this, no problem. Next one is about the bike. Could there have been any changes or adjustments on the bike that might have given you a better chance to take home first place? Honestly, it was not the bike that was limiting. That was the limiting factor. It was the rider. We got a lot of data from this race for the technical team here at Malcolm Smith Motorsports and the technical team at Ducati. So hopefully by the time next year rolls around, we're going to use all that data. We'll have a couple more tricks up our sleeve and be running for the first spot next year. This next one says, how many times have you worked or raced with Ducati in the past? So Malcolm Smith Motorsports is a Ducati dealer. We've been a Ducati dealer since 2021. But my personal history with them goes back to 2008 when I first raced the Ducati Hyper Motard at Pikes Peak. And then again in 2010 and 2011, I raced the Multistrada V2 at Pikes Peak for them. I always really enjoy racing for this OEM. They're top-notch. Team always looks great. Bikes always work great. It's always a fun time. Next one, how much time did you spend with the bike and the support crew before the race? So for the bike, I had about 250 miles of testing on the bike before the race. Not as much as I would have liked, but enough to understand what the bike was going to do come race day. But definitely as the race progressed and we got further on in the race, I got more comfortable with the bike and understood what it would do a bit more. And then as far as the crew, so I took one of our Ducati technicians from the dealership, and then I took a personal friend of mine who's helped me race in Baja in the past and has a lot of race support experience himself. And then we had a team of, I think it was 6 other people from Ducati in various roles, technician to support to logistics. And the team was great. Yeah, no complaints there. We by far had the best team in Baja, the best support. Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better team. I couldn't have done it without those guys. Okay, last question. When is your next race? So no plans currently for the next race. Just got to put my head down and get to work here at the dealership and spend some time at home with the kids. And I'm sure you'll see me at a race in the future, but no plans right now. Thank you. All right, guys, so thank you for taking the time to watch this video and submit your questions. A lot of great questions out there. I had a fun time answering them, even a better time racing the bike. Want to thank our sponsors, of course, Ducati North America. Without them and without the awesome bike, we couldn't have gone and done this. I really enjoy racing bikes that we sell here at the dealership and proving that these bikes can go race and be competitive and win races. And then our sponsors for the team. So first and foremost, NORRA Rally Equipment. These guys made our custom tank and air filter setup and rally tower. Really, we couldn't have done it without them. This would have been a big undertaking for us to try to engineer on our own, and they had a really great solution that worked flawlessly. Denali for their headlight. We didn't have to race at night, but at least knowing I had a good light on the bike made me feel better. And then Termignoni made us an awesome exhaust pipe. I heard from some people that I passed during the race that it sounded like the world was coming to an end when I went by them, and I can thank Termignoni for that. And then, yeah, of course, Malcolm Smith Motorsports. You know, we love racing here. We love motorcycles, and glad you guys were here following along on this journey. See you next time.
Cool.